Chosen one, chosen one. Before I even speak into the events that unfolded in that courtroom, I want you to understand something so deep, so unshakable, that it becomes the foundation of your next chapter. This victory was not random, it was not coincidence, and it was never just about law or human judgment. This moment was written into the architecture of your life long before you were even born. The trial you just walked through was not simply a legal proceeding. It was the physical manifestation of a spiritual war that had been raging over your life for years, possibly decades, and what you just experienced was the sound of heaven declaring that war officially over in your favor. For so long, they tried to frame you as the villain in a story where you were the main character of light. They gossiped about you in rooms you were never invited to. They twisted your words into daggers. They pulled strings behind the scenes to make you look small, foolish, or guilty of things you never even touched. They used manipulation as a weapon, deception as a shield, and arrogance as their uniform. But chosen one, what they didn't realize is that, while they were busy building their case in the shadows, the creator of the universe was building his own case in the light, and the evidence heaven had on your side was irrefutable. Every act of kindness you sowed when no one was watching became a witness for your defense. Every prayer you prayed through tears became an exhibit of your faith. Every betrayal you endured without revenge became proof that you were operating on a higher frequency than your enemies could even comprehend. By the time you stepped foot into that courthouse, the spiritual paperwork had already been signed and sealed. All you were doing was walking out the verdict in the natural realm. When you entered that courtroom, there was an unshakable calm on you. But it wasn't the calm of someone who underestimated the battle ahead. It was the calm of someone who knew the outcome was already decided in their favor. You could feel the eyes on you, some watching with quiet support, others watching with the eager hunger of predators who thought they'd finally see you fall. They studied your every move, trying to read fear into your face, trying to catch a hint of desperation in your body language, but all they saw was unshakable composure. What they couldn't see was that while they were counting on intimidation, you were counting on a higher judge, one whose authority outranks every gavel on earth. And when your name was called, and you rose to speak or to hear the testimony, there was a shift, not just in the room, but in the unseen realm. It was as if the air thickened, as if heaven itself leaned in closer. Those who had been confident on the other side began fidgeting, their voices catching, their eyes darting to the floor or the ceiling, anywhere but into your steady gaze. You didn't have to raise your voice, because the truth carries its own weight. You didn't have to dramatize the facts, because reality was already heavy enough to crush every lie they'd told. And chosen one, the most remarkable thing. Even before the verdict was read, you could see it written on their faces. They knew they were losing. They knew the tide had turned. They knew the power they thought they held had slipped from their grasp like sand through trembling fingers. The gavel, when it finally fell, was more than the end of a court session. It was a prophetic sound, a holy announcement, a spiritual earthquake. It reverberated through the timelines of your life, shaking loose every chain they tried to lock around you. It wasn't just that the ruling went in your favor. It was that it went so decisively, so undeniably, that it left no room for appeal in either the earthly court or the spiritual one. In that single, echoing strike, years of slander were erased. False accusations were demolished, and the stolen ground of your life was returned to you with interest. You walked out of that building with more than a piece of paper. You walked out with your dignity restored, your name cleared, your spirit reinforced, and your enemies forced into a silence they can't spin their way out of. And while some might think the victory ended there, in that marble hall with its wooden benches and stern-faced officials, you know better. That moment was only the beginning. The ripple effects of this win will move through every area of your life. Doors that were closed because of the lies they spread will swing open again. Opportunities that were blocked by their influence will suddenly reappear. Relationships that were poisoned by their gossip will be healed or replaced with better ones. Finances that were strangled by their interference will start flowing in ways you never imagined. But here's the part that will shake you, if you're not ready for it. The very same courtroom that became your place of vindication has now become the place of their judgment, even if their sentence isn't read aloud. Because in the unseen, there are consequences that no appeal can overturn. They didn't just lose a case, they lost credibility, influence, and the false sense of power they clung to. And in the days, weeks, and months ahead, you will watch, not because you're seeking revenge, but because truth is visible to those with eyes to see. As their lives begin to mirror the chaos they once tried to orchestrate in yours, the relationships they weaponized against you will turn cold toward them. The resources they used to attack you will dry up. The confidence they carried like a crown will crumble into shame. They will know, without you saying a word, that the reason they can't escape this season of loss is because they sowed seeds of destruction, and now they are reaping the harvest. This isn't cruelty, this is divine order. This is what it looks like when heaven says, "Touch not my anointed, and do my prophets no harm." And chosen one, I want you to understand why this victory had to happen in such a public, undeniable way. It's because God wanted to make a statement, not just to your enemies, but to every bystander who ever doubted that he was working in your life. There were people who sat on the fence, unsure of whether you were truly who you claimed to be, unsure if your integrity was as real as you said. Now they've seen it with their own eyes. They've seen the lies crumble, the truth stand, and the favor of God make a mockery of every false prediction about your downfall. Some will come to you privately, confessing they believed the wrong story. Others will simply watch from a distance, too humbled to approach, but unable to deny the evidence of your anointing. And while you will accept their changed hearts with grace, you will also remember the lessons of this battle. To guard your spirit, to trust your discernment, and to never again underestimate the lengths people will go to when they feel threatened by your light. So walk in this victory boldly, not as someone who barely escaped, but as someone who was destined to triumph from the very beginning. Hold your head high, not because you beat them at their game, but because you refused to play it and still came out on top. And let this moment be a constant reminder that no matter how convincing the opposition seems, no matter how many resources they have, no matter how organized their attack, the truth, when partnered with divine favor, will always stand longer, louder, and stronger than any lie. You are proof of that. And as you move forward, understand this: you haven't just won your freedom, you've set a precedent in the spirit. Anyone who tries to drag you back into the shadows will find themselves facing the same gavel, the same judgment, and the same God who just ruled in your favor. But chosen one, elevation is never random. It is the byproduct of divine orchestration and relentless endurance. This moment was born from every tear you thought no one saw, every prayer you whispered when the world thought you were silent, every morning you forced yourself to rise when your spirit felt crushed. Understand this. The court's decision may have been written on paper, but the real verdict was etched in the spiritual realm long before the judge ever opened their mouth. You see, the kingdom has its own courtroom, and long before you stood before any earthly authority, heaven convened a council. Your case was laid out in full, not just the accusations, but the intentions behind them. Every false witness, every manipulator, every shadowy hand was exposed before the throne of the Almighty. And the judge of all creation declared the ruling: "No weapon formed against this one shall prosper." That decree has echoed through your life, and today it manifested in a way that even your enemies cannot deny. But here's the part that many will miss. This victory was never just for your reputation. It was for your assignment. You are stepping into a season where the work placed in your hands requires unshakable confidence and unstoppable momentum. The attacks you've faced weren't meant to simply hurt you. They were meant to distract and detour you. If they had succeeded in breaking your spirit, they could have slowed your destiny. But instead, the very storm they sent to sink you has carried you into a greater harbor. And now, you are different. Your eyes see deeper. Your ears hear clearer. Your spirit stands taller. You are no longer walking with the uncertainty of one who wonders if they are capable. You are walking with the quiet fire of one who knows they are chosen. That's a dangerous thing for your adversaries, because confidence in the chosen is not arrogance. It is alignment. And alignment with the divine will always be unstoppable. Chosen one, I want you to remember something in seasons of vindication. The temptation will be to turn around and prove a point to those who wronged you. But your eyes will speak louder than any speech you could give. Your growth will outshine any revenge you could plot. Let the evidence of your elevation be the only argument you make. Because here's the truth. Those who set snares for you will end up trapped by the very devices they designed. It is spiritual law. Some of them, in this very moment, are already feeling the weight of their own schemes collapsing on them. They may never confess it to you. They may never apologize. But their lives will bear the evidence of the judgment they invited upon themselves. That is not your concern to manage. Your role is to walk forward, unencumbered, into the places God has cleared for you. And make no mistake, doors are opening now that were once bolted shut. People who once dismissed you will have to acknowledge you. Tables that once had no seat for you will now require your presence before the meeting can begin. But remember this, not every open door is an assignment, and not every invitation is an elevation. Some are tests to see if you've learned the discipline to discern. Because here's the deeper reality. Vindication is not the end, it's the beginning. The mountain you've just climbed was preparation for a higher summit. And as the air thins at these new altitudes, you must travel lighter. Not everyone can go where you are going, and not everyone should. The same people who cheered when the verdict fell in your favor may, in the shadows of their hearts, still carry seeds of jealousy or unresolved resentment. You are not being called to paranoia, but to precision. Your discernment is now a sacred tool. Protect it. Do not dull it by surrounding yourself with noise or flattery. Pay attention to the subtleties, the tone behind the compliment, the silence after your success, the change in atmosphere when you enter the room. These are not coincidences, they are indicators. Chosen one, what you carry now is not just a cleared name, but a mantle. And mantles come with weight. You are carrying the hopes of those who never got their day in court, the faith of those still fighting unseen battles, the voice for those silenced by fear or injustice. You have become a living testimony that truth, no matter how buried, will always find its way to the surface. There will be some who approach you now, not because they believe in you, but because they fear being on the wrong side of your rise. They will speak softly, they will extend olive branches, but they are not there for reconciliation. They are there for self-preservation. Learn to tell the difference between the repentant and the opportunistic. One is seeking healing, the other is seeking proximity to your light for their own survival. And yet, you will not walk in bitterness. bitterness is the silent thief that robs victors of their joy. You will walk in power, which is far more unsettling to your enemies than anger ever could be. Anger is predictable, power is strategic. Power knows when to speak and when to stay silent. Power knows when to act and when to wait. Power understands that the most impactful response is often no response at all, letting time and truth do the work. From here forward, every step you take will carry the weight of someone who knows they are backed by heaven. You will see resources come to you without chasing them. You will find yourself in rooms you never campaigned to enter. You will connect with people whose influence could never be bought, but whose spirits recognize yours. This is divine alignment in action, the kind of alignment that cannot be manufactured or manipulated. And here's the most sobering part. You are now a mirror. Your life will reflect truth so clearly that people will either be inspired to rise higher or exposed for who they really are. Some will love you for it. Others will despise you for it. But either way, you must remain unshaken, because your assignment is not to be liked. It is to be light. Light does not negotiate with darkness. Light does not dim itself to make shadows comfortable. Light shines because it was created to, regardless of who covers their eyes. And that is who you are now. A light set on a hill, impossible to ignore, unmovable by opinion. So, chosen one, as you walk out of this season, know this: the verdict was not the victory. The transformation was. You are not the same as you were when this battle began. You have become a weapon in the hands of the Most High, sharpened by adversity, strengthened by endurance, and anointed by purpose. And when God arms you, no force in existence can disarm you. The enemy's greatest mistake was not attacking you. It was failing to finish you. Because now you stand not just restored, but renewed. Not just acquitted, but appointed. Not just freed, but fortified. And every step you take from this moment forward will be a step that terrifies the forces that once thought you were easy prey. So walk boldly. Move with intention. Speak with authority. Love without fear. Forgive without forgetting. Build without asking permission. Live in such a way that your very existence testifies to the goodness of God and the unshakable nature of truth. Because the verdict may have been spoken in a courtroom, but your real victory is being lived out in every breath you take from here on out. And when they look at you, the ones who plotted, the ones who lied, the ones who thought they could control the narrative, let them see the undeniable evidence that the hand of God was, is, and will always be upon you. Let your presence remind them that they did not win. Let your joy remind them that they did not break you. Let your destiny remind them that they never had the power to determine your future. This is your time. This is your chapter. This is your unshakable truth, and nothing, no rumor, no enemy, no force in heaven or on earth can take it from you. But chosen one, understand this. When heaven writes a verdict, it is not written in ink that can be erased. It is carved into eternity. Long before you ever stepped into that courthouse, before the accusations, before the betrayal, before the lies, there was already a ruling in your favor. And not because you were perfect, but because your calling was too important to be destroyed by their schemes. God does not select the qualified. He qualifies the selected. He takes the overlooked, the underestimated, and the falsely accused, and he makes them living proof that no plot can overthrow his plan. You must see the fullness of this moment. It was not just about silencing your accusers. It was about unlocking a new realm of authority in your life. Before this, your voice carried weight in certain spaces. Now, it will carry weight everywhere you go, even in places your feet haven't touched yet. You have been given what I call the verdict anointing, the undeniable confirmation that God's hand is on you. So much so that even those who once stood against you will hesitate before speaking your name again. Some of them will pretend they never doubted you. They will rewrite history in their own minds so they can live with themselves. Let them. You don't need their admission. You don't need their apology. You don't even need them to acknowledge your victory. Your life will do all the talking. Because here's the thing. Vindication is not a conversation. It's a revelation. And revelations don't need to be debated. They stand as truth, whether people accept them or not. But I must warn you, after seasons of public breakthrough, there is often a quiet testing. Not from your enemies, but from heaven. This is the moment when you will be asked, now that you are free, what will you do with your freedom? Because victory is not the end of responsibility. It is the beginning of a greater one. Freedom without purpose is a wasted gift. You did not walk out of that courtroom to return to old patterns. You walked out to walk forward. And forward, chosen one, will not always feel safe. It will feel different. It will stretch you, demand more from you, and call you to levels of courage you didn't think you had. You will be asked to speak in rooms where silence would be easier. You will be placed in positions where your decision carries consequences for many, not just yourself. You will see injustice aimed at others, and you will feel the fire of your own experience pushing you to intervene. And you will, because you now know what it feels like to be on the other side, to be misjudged, misrepresented, and misunderstood. The people who stood against you may not realize this yet, but their attempts to break you have turned you into something far more dangerous to them, a living reminder that God is not to be mocked. Every time you show up, every time you succeed, every time you smile, they will be reminded of the power that pulled you through. And that reminder will eat at them in ways you'll never see, because conviction is a private battle. There will be nights when they lie awake, replaying their choices. They will remember the smugness they felt when they thought you were finished. They will remember the words they spoke over you, words they thought would stick like chains. But those words have been shattered, and in their place are blessings so visible they can't deny them. This is the part they will never say out loud. Watching you rise will hurt them more than losing the battle did. And yet, chosen one, your rise is not for revenge. It is for revelation. God is going to use your life to reveal himself to people who would never step foot in a church, never open a Bible, never pray a prayer. They will see your story and realize that there must be a higher hand at work. Your breakthrough will become their blueprint. Do you understand the weight of that? You are no longer just living for yourself. You are a walking testimony, a moving altar, a breathing sermon. Your presence in a room will shift the atmosphere. Not because of who you are in the eyes of the world, but because of who you are in the eyes of heaven. When you speak, your words will carry the frequency of someone who has seen God deliver them in ways no human could explain. That frequency is unshakable, unbuyable, and undeniable. And now, I must take you deeper still, because there is something coming next that most people are not ready for. When the truth is revealed and justice is served, the enemy often tries a different tactic: distraction through blessing. It sounds strange, but it is real. You will suddenly have opportunities, connections, and offers that look like destiny but are actually detours. They will appeal to your pride, your comfort, and your desire to finally enjoy life after the battle. But not every glittering thing is gold. Some are chains in disguise, meant to pull you into a slower, quieter kind of bondage, the kind that doesn't hurt, but keeps you from moving forward. This is why your discernment is more valuable now than ever before. It is your compass. It will tell you when something is sent by God and when something is sent as bait. Learn to pause before you say yes. Pray before you sign. Listen before you leap, because the higher you rise, the more costly a wrong step becomes. And speaking of rising, You need to prepare yourself for the shift in how people treat you. The same ones who dismissed you may now try to align with you. The ones who whispered against you may now try to partner with you. Not all of them are sincere. Some will want access to your influence without respecting the journey that built it. Protect your space. Protect your name. Protect your peace. You do not owe everyone an explanation, and you certainly do not owe everyone a seat at your table. You have earned the right to be selective. Selective with your time. Selective with your energy. Selective with your inner circle. Because not everyone is meant to carry the weight of where you are going. Some people can only cheer for you when you are beneath them. When you surpass them, their cheers turn to silence. And silence, chosen one, is often the loudest truth. So, as you step into this next season, do so with a watchful eye and a fearless heart. You are not walking into the unknown. You are walking into the prepared. God has already gone before you. The same way He prepared the path through this battle, He has prepared the path through your blessings. And the enemies you see now, you will see them no more. Not because they will disappear, but because they will no longer have the power to touch you. From now on, your victories will come without the same fight. The hardest part of the war is over. You have crossed the threshold. You are now in the land where the harvest begins, where what you sowed in tears, you will reap in joy. And your joy, chosen one, will be radiant. It will heal others just by being in the room. When you walk in, people will feel peace they didn't know they needed. They will feel courage rising in them just by looking at you. And they won't even know why. But you will. Because you will carry the fragrance of freedom. And freedom, true freedom, has a scent that cannot be faked. So let this be the anthem of your next chapter. I am not just free, I am fortified. I am not just vindicated, I am elevated. I am not just surviving, I am soaring. And let every step you take from this moment forward be a living, breathing declaration of that truth. So, chosen one, walk forward now. Not as the person they tried to bury, but as the seed that broke through the soil. You are proof that storms don't destroy the rooted. They only water the destined. Every breath you take from here is a victory. Every step you take is a sermon. And every rise you make is a reminder that the hand of God is still moving in this world. This is your chapter. This is your moment. This is the life they said you'd never have. And it's only the beginning. So, chosen one, walk forward now, not as the person they tried to bury, but as the seed that broke through the soil. You are living proof that storms don't destroy the rooted. They water the destined. Every breath you take from here is a victory. Every step you take is a sermon. And every rise you make is a reminder that the hand of God is still moving in this world. This is your chapter. This is your moment. This is the life they said you'd never have. And it's only the beginning. If this word reached you today, if you felt it deep in your bones like it was written for you, then I invite you to stay connected. Subscribe to Rise and Shine. Join this family of faith and resilience. And let's keep walking together. Through the trials, through the triumphs, and into the destiny that no enemy can stop.